My name's Josh Kirkham. I'm a senior sales manager for Hubspot Canada. The goal coming to Hubspot was to figure out how do I help build out a region. It was incredibly challenging. When I stepped in, the team was the bottom performing team in all of HubSpot small business. It was very tough. And it wasn't from a lack of effort from the team. They just didn't have a repeatable process to understand how we can execute and drive decisions forward. What I was finding is that I was taking 15-ish hours a week minimum, just watching on calls and trying to figure out how can I replicate myself to join 3 customer calls per day per team member I had. I tried it at the start. It just was not possible. I was burning my candle on both ends. The first things that I did when I was looking around at solutions is that I saw what I could just build and coach myself. I had been used to building onboarding resources. I helped build the entire onboarding framework at Vidyard that was wildly successful. And so I tossed myself into that and said, okay, maybe I can just teach the team, just coach them. I can just help make it happen. There was too much that had to change too quickly. And it was just very hard to absorb the information, practice it, and actually apply it in a high pressure situation, being on a sales call. So I knew I had to find another way to help scale what I was trying to do and make it so the team could actually execute without me having to be on the call. What stood out to me the most about SalesQ was it gave us the ability to customize scorecards based on the area of a call we were in. There are very certain elements that I wanted the team to make sure that we were understanding early in the call. But once that was already collected on the first call, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be redundant and to say that every call after. There's certain points where, yeah, we should bring it up, and there's certain points we shouldn't. So we can then start to customize. How should that differ when we're on a demo call? How should that differ when we're on like a pricing call? And the parts that I really liked about SalesQ is it gave us the ability to customize the scorecards that we needed the team to implement, which made it very easy to drive accountability across the team. When I went to implement SalesQ, I met with Ryan and Jordan, who helped get a better understanding of what were the accountability piece I want to drive in my sales process. I was able to determine through data on my side that the biggest thing at the time that I wanted to help the team coach on was driving next steps and make sure they're actually keeping control of their sales process. Just because I saw close rates were dipping, deal sizes were dipping, and our discount rate was very high. So I met with Ryan. I went through the specific questions of a scorecard that we needed to be able to address. We then had different talk tracks for how we would answer those questions, just so that it was easy to pick up different variations of how the same thing could be said. It was within a couple days turnaround time, I had my scorecard that I can start to use. I then met with my team, showed them the tool, how to log in. And then I said, when you join the call, when you launch your Zoom, just click SalesQ, click what part of our call we're on, discovery, demo, next step call, and just let it go. You can take notes directly inside of there. It picks up everything that you're saying, and it makes it very easy to then glance over to see what are aspects of the call we still need to ask about and that we haven't learned about, and what are parts that we've already executed on. So as we're taking notes, we can make sure that we're staying accountable to understand what are factors that we still need to ask and understand. And then how can we make sure that we're actually keeping aligned with our deals to make sure that we're progressing as based on what our customers need as well. The team really started to take hold of it around January, February, as we knew that the market was getting tougher and we had to be in more control of our sales. There's 3 team members who are using the product incredibly well on almost every single call. And I've actually seen almost a 2x, like a doubling in their performance month over month. Not only are their deals getting stickier, but they're closing more deals and they're actually seeing bigger deal sizes from it. Anecdotally, even speaking to them, they feel like they're in more control of their sales versus some of the team members who are more sporadic in using it. I haven't seen much of a lift in terms of their performances over that same time frame. Finally, I'm still going in to watch a lot of Gong calls. SalesQ is a very different product than Gong or Chorus. I find that I've used Chorus in the past. I've used Gong and I currently use Gong here at HubSpot. I still continue to use those products. The purpose of those products is to help not only from a compliance standpoint, make sure that everything that is being said is being recorded, but you also need to dive into the intangibles and understand how and where things were said. You can't just trust data to understand how to implement change. So the area for focus of Gong and Chorus is to understand what are gaps in our processes and how can I help coach to those and understand the intangibles behind it versus SalesQ is more so the implementation of the process that needs to be changed. So it gives me the insights and understanding. Here's the series of questions and steps I need people to be able to say throughout a call. Are those being met and not? And if they are not, I can go back to Gong or Course, understand what was the context behind maybe why it wasn't said or why it wasn't there. What's actually made my coaching process a lot more scalable because instead of spending 12 to 15 hours looking and watching calls to find areas to coach on, I can find trends in the data through SalesQ to see what might be missed, then go validate it in the Gong call, and then go showcase how I can go build that coaching. And I'm finding it's actually causing me to spend half as much time watching Gong calls and spending more time actually with my team executing on how we should be coaching this moving forward. So I think they serve two very different purposes. The thing that pleasantly surprised me about SalesQ is actually the scorecard ability. I was always very cautious about understanding how an automated transcription tool could actually understand what we're saying in real time and be accurate. And I'm very happy to say that it is actually picking up what our team is saying and it is very accurate in how it picks it up. And it makes it a lot easier for me to understand that what we are trying to drive is actually being driven. And that was something that I was definitely skeptical about at the start, but was very happy to be proved wrong. I would absolutely recommend SalesQ to other sales leaders. Unless you plan on watching and or being on every single call, how are you able to actually make sure that your team is implementing the process you need and understanding the gaps in the process that you have without watching hours and hours of calls? This not only makes your life easier, but this helps your team perform at a higher level. We are in sales because we are wildly competitive. If you are wildly competitive and you want your team to get better, I don't see any other way to do it.